I might well. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this other exciting evening and opportunity to engage this most interesting theme that we have been working with since Family Month. And if you are anywhere within the circles of the church, I'm sure by now you would have been engaging the issues, the discussions, and you would have been participating in all these various things that we would have been doing since the month started. And this evening, we are certainly in similar ways about to engage another very exciting focus. Our theme, as you know, is living with purity and celebrating God, living with purity, celebrating God's holiness as sexual beings. And so it's a month of sex. And we are looking at this evening the issues of male, female sexual responses, some of the very basic things that affect us, issues of fidelity, critical things that surround our function as sexual beings, and certainly things that affect our lives as, Christians, mature adults, how we engage in terms of our relationship. We're not taking the issues of sex lightly, but we are recognizing how significant it is as it relates to our relationship and our life. And so at this point, before we go any further, before I say another word, I'm going to invite Sister Valerie, who is going to ask the Lord's blessings on our evening.
Everyone, and welcome to our family life gathering. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for such a wonderful occasion, for your loving kindness, your tender mercies, and for your great gift of life. We thank you for salvation. And Lord, as we come this evening to talk about human sexuality, Lord, a gift that you have given to mankind, Lord Jesus. But we have so many challenges and issues with it. And some of us are enjoying the beauty of it. Lord, help us this evening as we gather to talk about it, and that you will be glorified and lives will be helped and be blessed. In Jesus' name, amen.
Nisha to share with us, to introduce this evening the members of our panel as we proceed to have this discussion. She's going to tell us who the members of the panel are, and then we continue with some other conversations.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome again. This evening we'll be focusing on as it relates to our topic, middle-aged, persons who are middle-aged and older. And so we have an interesting panel lined up for you this evening. And so we have with us Susan Nissan Calendar Bennett, and she is a devoted member and Christian of the Judea Gospel Hall. She's an educator by profession, and she is married to one, Brian Bennett, and they share 2 children. Her favorite scripture is Philippians 4, verse 6 to 7. And we also have Brian Bennett. He is a firm believer and also a member of the Judea Gospel Hall. And he is married, as you heard, to Susan Calendar, and they share 2 wonderful children. He's outspoken, outgoing, stern, and yet humble. And he lives by the scripture, Psalm 107, verse 1. And they're both leaders in the church, on the National Youth Council, Women's Fellowship Council, and so on. So they are very credible individuals within our church body. We also have with us Sister Cherise McPherson, and she has been a Christian for over 15 years, and she's a member of the Antioch Gospel Hall. She is married to our Reverend Orville McPherson, and they share 2 children. And we also have with us Reverend Orville McPherson. He's a teacher by profession and a father and a husband to, of course, Sister Cherise. And he served as the pastor of Miracle and Antioch Gospel Hall. We also have with us Brother Delroy Richards, and he's a retired warrant officer, class 2 of the JDF, the Jamaica Defense Force, and he served there for 26 years as a combat medical specialist, physical therapist specialist, and a paramedic. And he's an instructor in first aid and CPR and all those wonderful things. And he is the director and co-founder and director of Emergency First Aid and Safety Training, EFAST. And he's married to Sister Georgia for over 30 years. And the union has produced 2 boys and 1 girl. He's a deacon within his church, and he's a president of the South Avenue Gospel Hall Men's Fellowship. All right, so we have a lot of experience there. And we also have Sister Patsy Edwards. And Sister Patsy, as she's is a trained registered nurse, and she has been working at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital from 1991. You can imagine how many years of that experience that is. And she has many accolades, you know, behind her name. And she's a trainer of trainers for voluntary counseling and testing for HIV and AIDS. She's also has certification in supervisory management, among others. She attends the Harborview, the church in our Harborview community, and she loves life. She loves to listen to music, meeting people, and so on. So we have a wealth of knowledgeable person on this evening. So I'm sure we'll be blessed by these. So welcome, panelists. And our moderator for this session is our own Pastor Thomas. And I think everybody should know him by now. But for those who are new, he is the pastor of the Bethel Gospel Hall. He's a lecturer by profession and a counselor as well. And he has many years of experience, and he loves people. So back to you, Pastor Thomas.
Thank you so very much, Denisha, and thank you everybody for being here. Denisha, you are our point person for the YouTube, watching what is the questions being asked and what is being said. And of course, at this time, I need to invite Sister Jacqueline Kroll before we dig into issues. Jackie, are you anywhere there? Okay, all right. So in fact, I'll give you a little time, because when we have more people on, I think we'll certainly want to pull you out to engage what you have so planned. Right. So that means probably I should now hammer away at the issues that we want to deal with this evening. Well, just to tell you, just to give you a heads up on where we are going with this discussion this evening. Today, we want to talk about sexual intercourse, you know, from the perspective of arousal to orgasm. We want to discuss the significance of sex to a man, woman, as the realities are. We want to talk about, you know, the issues of fidelity and purity and, you know, sexual control. We want to explore those issues in a nutshell, right? And of course, the wonderful panel that has been introduced to you are ready and rearing to go. Do I get an amen in the room? Yes. Okay, so I want to start. I want to ask this question, and it might sound a little foolish, but I am asking it anyway. Patsy, have you ever had sex? What about Brian and Nissan? Yes, I see them smiling.
I have children to prove. I have children to prove it.
Yes. Yes, we have. Yes.
Who have experience and who from a certainly from their own experience and position can talk about the issues, and also people who are, as have been declared they are Christians. Cherise, the Macphersons, I didn't hear you.
No. We don't have to answer exactly. You've seen our answer already. Answer giving us problem right now.
Let's talk about this. The issue of sexual interest response. I think that's a biggie. Is there a difference in terms of how females respond to the issues of arousal, how they express interest in sex? Is there a difference between how man behaves per se? Can we speak to that first of all? Yeah, anybody wants to take a shot at it?
Let me go because it is said that we are all created equally, and there that the feminists, there are a lot of feminist groups, and there are a lot of groups that says men and women are equal, but there is a difference. There is a difference. Research has shown that there is a difference, and those of us in marriages or relationships, but I know we're talking about marriages now. There is a difference for men in terms of the sexual urge and feeling. Men wake up in the mornings aroused. Most men, if a lot of you on the panel will know that you wake up in the mornings with an erection, and that happens from puberty. You can see, you see something and you get aroused, you get an erection, or your heart starts beating faster. For us as women, it's a little bit different. While we are aroused by what we see, we tend to be more aroused. We are activated. The action of arousal comes on a little slower, and we need a little bit more. So women like to be cuddled, they like to be hugged, they like to be kissed, they like words of affirmation, and those are the things. So we'll walk out there and we'll see a handsome man, and we'll, oh, he looks nice, and so, but we don't get turned on, and there, so and that will happen with a man. And research says it happens with men. Men think about sex up to 90 times a day, while women think about it probably 10.
As I said it, better than me. But I mean, yes, the man goes off what he is in his eyesight. He can see a pretty lady on the road and it's like, you know, instantly he's like he's ready. And as she said that we wake in the mornings and it's good morning, you know, and so with the females now, they are rose by a lot of things. Some women are and then you have females who are different. Some women they are rose by just kissing, they are rose by just caressing, just by cuddling, you know, and you know, pretty much the emotional stuff they are rose by. Which I get to understand that some females sometimes are are like are like men also. They will see and get a rose too, you know. They will see and see a gentleman and think him look good and be a rose too. But I think it's the percentage is more emotional for most women, you know?
Saying there is a it, the male's response and the female's response. And I hear you talking about that men being turned on by what they see, and women seem to whatever they go through. That seems a little doesn't that it's a little weird, isn't it, for the men? Doesn't it create tension between ordinarily between a man and a woman? The fact that there is this difference in terms of how a woman will respond sexually. Cherise, what are your and the McPhersons, what would be your thinking on that?
Good evening again, everyone. I mean, the differences in most instances will complement the entire process once there's clear understanding by both parties as to what arose or what causes each person to be aroused, what hit the spot. So once there's clarity as it relates to what is expected, what hit the spot, then believe it's really to complement each other, because God in his wisdom would have wired both the male and the female to respond a certain kind of way. So the response really requires understanding, and that's why it is important that mature minds get engaged in this process. That's my bit.
You're muted.
Oh, sorry. The fact that men seem to be aroused by what they see seems to, in a way, it seems to lead men into more aggressive sexual expressions, or probably the initiators of the sexual activity, I think, as Patsy was saying, which I wonder if that is, well, probably it's a question I will explore a little bit more, dig into in a little bit later, because the fact that men are aroused in this kind of way, the fact that they are triggered so easily, as it appears, from what we're saying, how does this make the man behave in ways that probably create, which is part of what I was asking, issues of tension, or create a problem in terms of whether the relationship, or whether in terms of how he may eventually relate to the female, or probably express his sexual interest to the female. All right, but I'm going to come back to that in a little bit, all right? So we are clear that men do express their whole sense of interest in sex, approach to sex is a little bit is different, right? Men are turned on by what they see. Women, did we properly describe the women's situation though? I hear the men by what they see, but how really do women become turned on? Because we know the man see the woman and whatever, but what goes on with a woman? Seriously. Come on, Nissan, you seem like you want to talk, man. Talk no, man.
Well, for the woman, you know, there needs to be some amount of emotion. There needs to be some amount of touch. There needs to be some amount of, you know, talk, you know, soft talk, that special talk. But and and you know, there has to be, for women, I know there has to be that kind of connection. You want to feel connected to that person, especially in your head, in your mental space. So when you have that kind of connection, and you know, just by those soft words, just by that touching, just by, you know, all that petting and all of that foreplay, then the woman is ready. Yes, or on her way to ready.
What would probably sum it up is that women have to be in the mood. We have to be in the mood. So if we're not in the mood, or you don't get us in the mood, then, you know, it's going to be a little challenging.
No, I'm not saying. I mean, as she said, no, yes, just listen to. I mean, I always said to if I'm talking to somebody or you know a friend or so, I always say, you know, a female, a female is like a female is like a college, a university. I mean, you have to. It's like it's not just to go and know about the female. I mean, you have to know so much about the female, and no, it's like more like buying grocery. You understand me? You have to pick and choose, and you have to pick this brand, and you have to pick this brand, and you have to know this one, and you have to know that this is the. I mean, it's like it's not just one go, you know. You have to know so much things about that female to actually be in that.
Yes, and that is why communication is so important. Communicating to your partner to let them know, listen, this is what I like. You know, I enjoy when you did this. Things like that will help the partner in going forward. So when there is a great moment, you send a message to say that, wow, you know, this, I enjoy this because, you understand me? And so the person gets to say, okay, so I know next time I can do this, I can top it up a little more, right? As I say, you go grocery shopping, you buy a little more. If you used to buy 3 things, you probably buy 6 this time, right?
And when the man listen,
the reward is good.
it is much easier.
Yes, yeah, I hear that loud and clear. You know, which brings me to the issue of, because we can see the differences. You know, how a man responds a woman. A woman really needs a lot of emotional support and things that will, affirm her affections, as the case may be. And that makes her ready, so to speak. That's just weird. Compared to a man just look on a thing and it see it and it trigger and it send all the sensations. But she has a lot of wires a lot of things that need to be sorted out. And yeah, I hear that. Wow. Which brings me then to ask the question about the issues of orgasm, because we know that when sex starts, it goes somewhere, right? And an orgasm, as we understand, is a high point in terms of sex. Is orgasm experienced differently by men and women? Sorry, so seeing women so different, from men when during sexual intercourse, do they actually have different orgasmic experiences? If I may ask that question. Hold on, oh no quiet so. All right. Yeah, I see your mouth moving, Cherise, but I'm not hearing anything.
And it's hard to tell if the experience is the same. Clearly, we both are feeling something exciting and sensational and good. But I can't say what a man feels at that time. I can only talk for me as a woman. Well, it's a outer world, outer brain, outer. For me, I think that's the highest point of excitement or what's the word I can use? It's not even the highest point of pleasure for me. The highest point of pleasure, inexpressible kind of pleasure. So that's why I'm saying I don't know what men feel, or if it is the same, but it is the highest point of like out of my mind, out of myself kind of feel.
An orgasm, would it be any different from what she just said? Yeah.
This is where this saying goes, patient man ride a donkey, right? So now you has to put your feelings on the back somewhat, right, to facilitate the woman to reach that point, right? And it's always good when she reaches at that point first, or both of you reach together, right? Because that is where should reach her optimum. However, though, they say that the greatest orgasm a woman can have is during a childbirth, right? That is the greatest organism, orgasm. Yeah, that is. There's a saying goes like that. I think the nurse can say something towards that. Yes.
I hope that you can hear me. So I didn't hear what Sister Macpherson said in full, but orgasms between male and female are different. The first thing is the men's orgasm is shorter than the woman. And research has shown
Yeah.
the ultimate goal of sex is to have an orgasm, sorry. And women, when women have an
Mm. Right. Okay. Yes, we're hearing you. We're here. Yes, yes, Sister Patsy. Yes, we are. Yes. Uh, okay, all right, all right. While she goes and come back, let me ask, Delroy, is there a difference between the orgasm and ejaculation that men experience? Or are they one and the same? Well, as far as I understand, they are one and they are kind of two different things, but can you speak to that?
When a man reach an orgasm, right? If one can call it that, it is actually ejaculation. Actually ejaculation. And for the woman, yes. And it shows by the fluid coming out, right? So it is one of the same, right? If you should put it like that, yes.
I understand them to be kind of different, probably occurring together, but kind of two kind of separate realities, as it were. Because the orgasm more so describes the intensity of the aroused feelings, and going to a point of a climax, the heightened point of all of that experience. And the ejaculation, which usually occurs somewhere at that point, but maybe not necessarily the same thing. But let me ask this question, because we spoke earlier about how, the two genders are, as it were, aroused differently. Two sexes are aroused in different ways. We also can recognize that largely the issue of orgasm is similar. It's in terms of the intensity and satisfaction that both may experience. One will have an ejaculation and so on and so forth. That is a male. And both, in essence, this kind of a behavior, what is happening is really the satisfaction that both are seeking in the sexual experience. How does aging impact on the whole of this situation? Does a fact that a man grow older when you reach my age, for example, is there a change? Do old people want to have sex? Older people want to have sex? Is there a change in what they experience? How does age affect this kind of situation? Those who are older here, Delroy, like yourself, and probably me and you may be able to share similar kind of experiences, maybe. But I'm asking, is there any difference between age, or does age make a difference?
Age make a difference. And the saying is that age is just a number, is a facade, right? As you grow older, you will tend to get a little bit slower. And that's why, and the Bible encourages you to marry to the wife of your youth. So you will grow old and together. So when you're a bit slow, she's a bit slow too. And not take on the time. You understand? So age matter, because at a certain age, the testosterone level of the men diminishes, right? And also the women, the estrogen and diminishes. And that will make a big difference. And you're talking about menopause now, premenopause and the whole works like that. So as I grew older, it will make a difference, but you still can experience the whole niceties and the whole thing about orgasm.
Anything else on that from the others? Yeah. And seeing you as well.
Yes, because I want. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead before me.
Not only does age, not only just age makes a difference, but when you start having children, there is a little challenge. especially when you have toddlers. Cherise can speak to that, and you have a young child. You know, you have to start probably scheduling your time, you know, changing. It depends, yes, because if, yes, Pastor, you know, yes, because you have a young toddler, you're not at that point yet. Okay. When you have a toddler, yes, and if they up in the night, or you plan something for a particular night, and you plan your night and everything, and then you have to just reschedule, or you have to change the time, and all of that. So not only age, but when you have children, when you start growing the family, you have to start to be deliberate, because guess what? You're working, you're looking after the house, you are looking after the children, and you have to cater to your husband's need, or the husband has to cater to his wife's needs. So sometimes you have to schedule. Pastor, didn't you schedule back in the day? Yes, sir.
Saying is that there are many more things that distract you from the kind of pursuit, sexual pursuit, but your feelings doesn't change.
But so many when you just get married, and you don't really have small kids. Yes, man, you have the time of your life. But when the children start to come in play, and the home, and remember now, you start living together, you start as a wife, now you're taking care of the home, you're preparing your husband meal, you're looking after his clothes, all of those things, and you will become tired. So you have to say, no, I'm not going to be washing today, I am not going to be doing that today, I'm going to turn off the phone. It doesn't matter what happens tonight, Thursday night, I'm not taking any calls.
Drink some punch already.
Yeah, because that is so true. It's so true. And there are little twists to it also. Sometimes you honestly don't feel to have sex after you have children. Person's sex life change after they have children, because the woman doesn't feel that she wants to have sex again, or the man sometimes feel that the woman is not um, as tight as she was before she started having children, and the enjoyment is not there. And, so there are things. And then as we go through the growth and development, if you have a boy, when the boy starts becoming jealous of the mother, and you have a girl, when the girl starts becoming jealous of the father, that impacts a lot of things too. They're always in your bed. They're just always there, to the point where at one point in time, I got jealous of my husband because I just thought my daughter was too close to him. No, I've outgrown that. But yes, it does impact an age. So I want to touch the age thing, because I heard is it Brother Delroy say something. So we live in a society where men are sex gods and women are, yeah, we are goddesses, but to a lesser extent. We live in a society where the ego of the man is high. So he has to say, well, yeah,
Yeah, we want to hear more about it.
in speaking about their sexual attributes, how many times they can do it, how many times. So men are the, yeah, man. So the man can go out and him can say, yeah, man, me do it last night. We girls don't do that. We don't kiss and tell. And it's a societal thing. And as we grow older, the men, just as the brother spoke about menopause, he didn't say anything about andropause, because the men pause too. So they start going downhill. Yeah. They start taking longer to get up than they stay up. Yes. So once upon a time, you could stay up for 15 minutes, and then after you ejaculate, you're down for 5, and then you're up again. No, you're up for 10 minutes and you're down for 1 hour and you can hardly get it back up. But so men, while they grow older and go through andropause and the testosterone levels start going down, they start having, less erections, and it's not as hard as it was earlier. Now with women, there is a difference. So while the woman goes through menopause, and some women will have the mood swings and not feel for sex, there are a lot of women, and research has shown that women's sex drive increase after menopause. One, because of the whole hormonal imbalance and changes, and two, she have a peace of mind now that she's doing it for the love and she's not doing it for the pregnancy. So she's doing it now for pleasure and not pregnancy. So she's more comfortable. But
As you have to explain why, and I certainly would want an engagement with you explaining why is it some women are running away after menopause. Not just not everybody is interested. Some women are literally taking flight. So I
Is it the same? Is it the same for the men too? After andropause, the sex drive increases.
drive doesn't necessarily increase, but their need for sex increases because their ability now is now decreased. And that's why you have older men.
this we're going to nurse. Yes.
Want to still feel. Yeah.
Is an issue that we have to come back and talk about, the issue of menopause, andropause. I know that it was a discussion in a particular place with the women the other day at their retreat, but we have to take it to this forum, as it were, and have a more open discussion about it. So we're going to be coming back on that one. Right. So we are recognizing that aging does seem to have an impact. And well, let me ask this question though. Is it a myth that men always want sex more than women? Okay. Yes, Delroy, tell us the truth.
Not a myth, not a myth.
But aren't there women aren't there?
And sometimes we see them and we think they want sex, but they don't really want to have sex. They just be nice. But if you're looking at a percentage, if you were saying, do men on an average, men want sex more than women, then I would have to say yes. But I don't think to generalize it is fair to say that, they always want sex more than women. And I say it's society again. The men are the initiators. How many of us as women, we come in and we really want to have some sex and we initiate the sex? We don't. Most couples, most marriages wait on the male to initiate. So it may seem as if they want sex and you never want it, but you did want it, but you're not initiating it.
Because there are some things that I think that changes over time. And I'm agreeing with what Nurse is saying, that we can't generalize. We can't say that we can't. I think as information and the world gets more open and people are more open with their thoughts and their feelings, it changes. Because if I want sex, I'm going to initiate the sex. I talk to my girlfriends about certain things where sex is concerned. So it as I feel like as the world is evolving and persons are more exposed to the entire information about sex, and we get more educated about marriage and how to please our partner. So you see what you're saying, nurse, about how men after a while, how men will become. It is very informative, and therefore we are more prepared when we get to that place. I feel with preparation, I feel with information, I feel with exposure that it differs, you know, and that is why we have to ensure that we're saying most or some, because we can no longer say men's sex drive is higher than women, because you have some women out there that will kill it. You understand what I'm saying? You have some wives out there them not play, and it is just what it is, you know. But then nobody now kind of hold up themselves no more. Especially now that we understand Christianity and marriage and how sex is in marriage. Me no want nobody take away my husband from me, so me have to do what me have to do. You know what I mean? That's our mindset in this generation.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. But
Yeah, as Sherry said, you know, you have some women, you know, who they have some high sex drive. They will run you down, you know. I tell you, you know, once they see what they like and they see you as somebody who they would want to they will look here. They would tell us seriously say they look here. And you have some women who are married and their sex drive real upon them and they will say, look here, make sure say you reach home 6 o'clock, you know, because I'm ready. And understand what I'm saying? So, I mean,
Things. The times change.
this is not the person I'm married to.
are kind of reserved while some are not. Some women don't even wait on the man to make a move, while some women are conservatives, which is true. We see that reality. There was a comment from Annette, from Kayla Dunstan. Women are turned on by expressions of love. Suppose that was an earlier comment. And another one had said women are auditory and respond to touch. Annette Bentley said sex becomes difficult and painful as a woman ages because of the lack of, and I didn't see the lack of what, but I suppose that's an interesting thing which we didn't mention. Because as not just in terms of men who as Patsy did mention, the refractory period, you know, him can get up as after ejaculation, the hardness of the penis does not come back. He doesn't have an erection as so quickly as he would have when he was much younger. But so he might not perform as he used to, but for some women it is dryness, which affects, which makes the sexual intercourse a little challenging. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to say something.
This and that is why we encourage our young people that, you know, I mean, sex is a wonderful thing that, you know, when you start, it's like you don't want to stop. I mean, it is so consuming that, you know, and you just want to enjoy it more, and that is why it's from married couple that persons they can, you know, enjoy that wonderful worship, wonderful event, you know, between two married. Pastor McCoy, those who are in from Caribbean and they will know Pastor McCoy, and Pastor McCoy will always tell us, as you say, listen to me, man. Don't wake up the lion when the lion is asleep. The lion will bite you. Know what I mean? And it's a sense where I mean you go to a female and I mean you start tell her some holy or something, and you know you start tell her some nice things, and once you know start get that female aroused now or that male aroused now, it's as if, look here, the person is just going to want it and you know have to go run because you don't want it. You know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, it's a wonderful
Wonderful worship.
worship.
Wonderful experience.
let me move to asking you questions as it relates to the issue, because we're talking about the issue of orgasm in a little bit, but I want to come back to that in a and because I don't think a lot of people understand the kind of process, or if there's a process. You know, some people, earlier you were talking about some women who have real high sex drive, as the case may be, and there's one particular woman that I, you know, as she shared her experience with me, that the fact is, she's 99% of the times dissatisfied with her husband. And she in fact, you know, she's struggling to stay in control, because she feels that she doesn't feel like he's addressing the need, is maybe the way he has sex with her. Maybe he comes so quickly and doesn't get to, you know, satisfy her, and so that becomes an issue. So it seems sometimes that in the relationships, people do not really understand or what really is supposed to go on, or what the process of an orgasm is. And as we had mentioned probably earlier before, not really waiting on each other and ensuring that you know, you are satisfied before I have whatever it is where I come, as the case may be. So can we talk about this a little bit? Is there are there stages in orgasm when you start, when from arousal to a point of ejaculation or an orgasm in a woman, as the case may be? Is there a process? Are there stages? And if there are, you know, what are these, and how do we understand what goes on? Can we talk about that? You are the people who have sex, you know. All of them know they say we don't have sex, you know, but I come go on now like say we don't know what go on. All right, talk to me and tell me.
Pastor, I think having sex out of marriage, this is before I was saved, lest anybody think I was in the church. And having sex in marriage, two different things, you know. And I just want to encourage those who are single to wait, because there's a beautiful experience that takes almost little or no effort to get to that place as a woman, because you understand the covenant and the coming together. No, outside of marriage, I didn't even know I could have an orgasm. I did not know. It's when I got married. And I tell you, you know, information is so powerful. Your mind is so powerful. Everything. So you can't. So what may get a woman to that place tonight may differ the next night and the next night and the next night. So I feel like in marriages where persons may struggle and who not being satisfied, may be something that is recurring a lot. Because if my husband, for example, we have not had sex for a while, and in 2-3 minutes, you know, in busway, I go, it's okay, because it's not the norm. You know what I mean? But if it is something that all the time that we're having sex is him, it's going to annoy me. But if it's one and two, one in and out and thing, then fine. And as I said, coming back to what takes us there, the sex thing is a spiritual bonding, you know, that Rev, it might not even have to take 2 strokes and I'm there, because of the beauty that is in the act. So I can't pinpoint one thing to say is this thing that carried there or that thing. What I know is the mind and the oneness that is in the marriage that helps it for a woman. For me, Nissan can maybe speak from her experience, but I'm talking about me. The oneness that is there and the understanding of the covenant. And of course, my husband love me up and whatever. And I just want to point out that there are some times that we just look on our husband and we just, you know, him not even touch us. because of the holistic relationship and what is happening in the marriage that can cause all of these things. You don't say everything for a woman counts. You might like how him, like I love my husband broad shoulder, and I tell him that, and that gets me, you know. So maybe him just turning back to me, and all of a sudden I get excited. You know what I mean, Rev? And please tell me talk about my business, but me just talking it for the first. I'm just talking it for the persons who are not married, because it is so important that we teach our single people who are coming into marriage that don't rush it because you want to experience all of what we're talking about here. So that's me for on the side of the orgasm.
Saying, you know, it's going back to the very conversation we were having before about the differences between the male and the female, the arousal. Because what you're saying is that because of the kind of support, the kind of feelings of affection and all these wonderful things that have been happening in the relationship, when it comes to sex, you are ready long time. And so it doesn't take much for you to get to a high point, because of the kind of affections and the kind of support, the kind of emotional support that you have been having throughout the relationship. And that's a very interesting thing to note.
Wait. When you wait on God to give you your husband, and when you love that man, my booby, as I call him, and when that man loves you, it takes no amount of effort, because that connection, just to know that, because this, you know, you have been thinking, you're at work, but you're just thinking about this person. It's just a person on your mind all day. So when it comes to that point, voila. Brian, say what? Shala.
Shala.
Yeah. Shala.
So talk to me, man. Yes.
To ask about the phases, because we do go through different phases. We start at arousal and we end with orgasm and resolution. So there are different phases, but different persons go through the different phases at different times, depending on what's happening. No, and that,
When a man is turned on, what happened? Oh, you know, say a man is turned on. That I want sitting. Yeah, go ahead.
Number one, and the woman has to dress the path. Attraction, because man go by eyesight. And that is what lacking in some of our marriages. And the woman put on a tie and then dress up in a nightie and then go to in bed and expect and the man to respond. No. Dress the path. If you want to put on heels or whatever, you're think that it is your man. You're illegal. Yes, man.
That's it. Delroy, Delroy, I want Delroy, I want to take you up on that, you know, but I want you to talk to me first of all. What happens when a man is aroused? What are the signs of his arousal? He's turned on.
All right. Go ahead, right? And first of all, you feel it from your testes coming up. You understand? And you have a erection. Now, what you have to do, you have to control that, right? And be patient. Because at that time, you might not do any foreplay as yet to get the woman to a point of arousal. And you hold that in. And during sexual intercourse, you don't place your mind on yourself. You cannot be selfish, else you will ejaculate soon. Yes.
You're carrying me far. I want to know what goes on in the man when he's aroused. That's what I want to hear. I hear what you're saying, but I don't want you carry me into them things there. So tell me what happens with the man when he's aroused. Yes.
Yes. Nothing else in particular. You just want to conquer.
Yeah, Brand, yes, talk to us. Yeah,
The penis gets erect, your scrotum gets stiff, the all down there, so blood flow to down there is increased. Sometimes the face get flushed, and you know, they're just excited. They come in that little, you and no offense, men, but sometimes they come in like little puppies when you're gonna feed them. I have a puppy, and when you're gonna feed Frisky, Frisky spin around 2 times, and Frisky spin around, and Frisky spin around, and they behave, eh? And sometimes they behave erratic, when they become aroused. Yeah, you don't have to ask if a man is aroused.
I mean, as the can say, you know, it's a feeling of excitement, and well, nurse kind of put it a little more excited still, but it's somewhat, but I know the puppy feeling though, but you have that high sense of feeling where, you know, you know, say, yeah, you'll get into something, So that feeling of excitement is there.
erection, they increase blood flow, the heart rate and all of these things, scrotum tightens as nurse says, right? And the skin flush as is experienced, whether in the face and probably right across the body. Those are some of the things. What about the female? Is it this similar thing? Is it a similar thing? I'm gonna take a question from Jackie or commenting. I said, but let me hear what the female experiences.
The penis to get erect, but we have a clitoris, and the clitoris gets erect. We have our juices start to run, so we get wet. The blood flows to the vagina, and it's swell up. Yeah. The vagina, man, the vagina get wet with juices down there. Yeah. So the vagina starts secreting, the glands start secreting, and you get wet. And that, yes.
Sorry to cut you, but oh.
And the clitoris, as I said, the clitoris becomes erect, and the vagina feels like it's swollen. We also have heart rate racing. We get flushed too, and excited, and sometimes can't wait.
Very interesting developments, and of course the breast is a part of that. What happens to the breast as well?
And surprisingly for some persons, and as we were discussing earlier, different persons have different points, different sensitive points. So for some women, once you touch the breast, for some women, once you touch the neck, the ears, so the breast swell, the nipples get hard. So yeah, we have more places where we get, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Tensing effect, and that is what happens now and causes the woman to get easily pregnant, because all that starts happening at the same time. Yes, and there is muscle tension, and the heart rate starts to increase. So you have all of that happening to the woman. Yes.
Brian, you're going to ask a question before I go to Jackie. Are you making a?
I know they always say females have this burning sensation. What is that burning sensation?
Sensation. What I know is that sometimes when the blood flow increases to the vagina, and it swells to the point where sometimes it feels like it's gonna burst. So that could probably be the sensation if there is no satisfaction. So that could probably be the burning sensation, but I don't know if everybody has a burning sensation.
Blue balls effect, as they call it, blue vulva. Okay. All right. All right. Let me pause, Sister Jackie. Jacqueline. It would be nice.
It may sound a bit demeaning, but it's not meant to be like that. I'm just asking because I've always wondered, and with nursing that all this blood rushes to the pubic area. A friend of mine told me once that his father's instruction to him was that he should never make any decision with an erect penis. And so I want to know if men have the capacity to make a rational decision during that moment. It might sound nonsensical, but I'm just asking.
Decisions, because we do have persons who are able to pull back at the last point, at the last moment, but because of the level of excitement sometimes and that expectation of getting relief, it makes it difficult sometimes to not go through with the act. But I wouldn't generalize again and say you can't make rational decisions, because persons can. And I do know that there are men with very erect penis, or wives who are not ready to have sex, and they say no, and the man knows that no means no. So I wouldn't say they're not able to make rational, but sometimes the level of excitement gets the better of them. That's how I would respond to that. And it's not for men only, it's for men and women.
And I suspect maybe it's an erected penis may not be the only thing that would challenge a man in making a sensible decision. You know, maybe there are other needs that he may be attempting to satisfy that could be really challenging to respond to while having a very significant decision to make. But hear your question, Jackie. And I don't know if the answers we have given you have helped in any way, shape, or form. But right. All right, but I was asking about the whole journey towards an orgasm. You know, what is this? What else happens? So we know the man becomes aroused. What happens after that? We know the woman becomes aroused. We see what arousal looks like. Can we talk about what happens can we say anything more about what happens after that? Or, you know, in that whole process? Right.
Engaged in the sexual act where there's penetration most of the times, and you start having the sexual act, and you call that the plateau, where the blood is still there, the penis is erect, the vagina is now moist and ready to accept the penis, and the whole act takes place, and that leads now to orgasm. And
those juices that you were talking about before, do they contribute to that process? Yeah.
it contributes to make it much easier for the entry, for penetration, because and somebody did say that when you reach menopause and you have the decrease in the hormone, sometimes you do have dryness in the vagina. And that is what causes the pain, because the vagina is dry. It's not ready for the penis. But once the vagina is nice and moist, it's ready to accept the penis, and that you start having the sexual act. And this is where it is very important that we understand each other, and we wait for each other as we go along. Yes, we have to wait for each other, because and we have to understand the whole issue now of how we're gonna make sure that both of us get enough pleasure. It is said that, and different people like it different. And I heard one morning on the devotion, persons were talking about size, but sometimes it's not really the size, because research says that the first 1/3 of the vagina is the most sensitive. So sometimes just staying right out at the front there, but then some people like it nice and deep. So depending on what happens, and then after this, during the sexual act now, then is when you come now to orgasm. Yes. So you have the orgasm, and then you resolve the orgasm. You have spasms. You know when you have. And Sister McPherson said it earlier when she said that sometimes you don't see your spouse for a while. And when they see you, they're so excited that you both of you have your orgasms quickly. But as we said earlier, the woman tends to take a little longer. So communication is important during the sexual act. It's important. And one of the things that we need, yeah, man. Yeah, how you feel, baby? Yeah.
When you say communication, are you saying that boy, if something happen women I like, I must communicate it? No, I'm asking you, when you talk about communication, what are you referring to? You're talking about any kind of communication?
Very know significant it is to be talking about where each person is in this whole process of the sexual engagement. So yeah.
Communication, just as it is in any other part of the marriage, is important. It is also important in sex, because then you're letting me know where you're at. I'm letting you know where I'm at. It's based on body communication, facial communication, speaking. It is important, because then I get to know what you like and what you don't like. I get to know that, boy, when I touch your forehead, if that does something, or if I squeeze your leg, if that does something. So just communication right across the board, and is included. Yeah, that
Talks.
I will not talk, but we not talk about no hallelujah and no amen, no rev. Yeah.
A little too fast and you feel like it all finished quick. You have to say, slow down, honey. You have to say, all right, go hard now, go slow. Communication is very important. You like it this way. Do you want me to change position? Yes.
mortgage. We have to have the love communication. You understand me? Yeah.
Very holy and can talk. We have to talk, and I'm encouraging the married couples to talk during sex so that you can know your partners better, so sex can feel nicer each time.
Place for everything, and that is where you have to have that communication with your partner.
Yeah, this now. And communication can be verbal, non-verbal too, right? And as the Bible says, sometimes anytime we pray, sometimes we cannot find words, and the Spirit bear a witness with groaning, right, which cannot be interpreted on earth. You understand? So nice, and so forth, right, is very important. It drives the ego of the man and say, yes, I am doing something good. I am getting to where I want to go, right? So it can be non-verbal, right, as well as verbal, and the whole mixture and so forth. But if you are doing it and you're silent, no talking, not at all, and so forth, that can be an issue. Because we don't know where you are or if you're enjoying it, etc. You get me now? Yeah, man.
Man, Deacon, I'm sure that give you a little ego, a little boost right there when your wife is saying whatever and whatever and whatever she's saying.
Very important. What if you want a different sex position? You must talk. I see. But for I suspect for some people, they probably need silence to meditate and to concentrate on what they're doing.
You know, and probably I don't want to take tail. Well, you have to communicate.
You have to communicate, because what if, remember, in the context of Christianity, we're supposed to be going into marriage as virgins, right? And this is supposed to be the first time I'm having sex with my husband, right? This is what we say in Christianity. What if he does not want a loud person? And what if the spouse is loud? You know what I mean? So it is communication right there, whether you're going to after, doing, or whatever to say, because maybe the holy pana is, as they say, maybe meditating on whatever he's meditating on. Yes.
I want to talk. I want us to go quickly to the orgasmic experience, because is there a place for somebody screaming out hallelujah and a lot of praise the Lord so that the entire neighborhood can hear? I mean, you are upstairs and this person, you live downstairs and this person is upstairs, and you can't sleep because of what is happening, or
Lord, them saying maybe somebody thinking it's a prayer meeting going on upstairs, so maybe they won't know that it's like that. That's what the lady said.
you know
Once we're married and we're within the confines of our homes, I don't know. I don't know. Are married people supposed to have sex? So is it a big crime if you're having sex and persons know? We have to think about those things. How does it affect persons? I know that a lot of men like to know, like they will ask for marks on they like when they go out, and if they get a little mark, they like persons say, they have a mark, because so that people know that they're doing things. Women are a little bit more conservative, but as married people, we I don't know, it probably disturb persons, and you probably need to try to be a little quieter. But what if you can't?
It's a pretty much embarrassing moment. I mean, for some women, that is. I mean, if they are in their confinements of their home, and I mean you don't want the neighbors hear certain things. I mean, when you go out in the morning, I mean your neighbor is saying, you got something going last night and whatever, or even a hotel. If you are spending a weekend at a hotel, and you know, and the next door neighbor over the hotel can say, wait, I should have gone last night or whatever. You understand me? So I feel like it's an embarrassing moment for some females, as well as some don't even care.
That you should be going on with something too.
Understandable, man. I mean, for the female itself feels that maybe she feels embarrassed by making so much noise. I know it's nothing because it's your husband and you're legal to do whatever you want, but maybe because yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
mean, yes. So they feel that, you know that they make nice, but at the same time, they don't expect to make so much nice. I mean, some of them, they know they're going to make so much nice. So just the fact that they're making noise and other persons hear, and they kind of feel a little bit embarrassed. Not that they care, but that's a little bit embarrassed.
Noise is disturbing. It really is disturbing for other people. Yeah, to the
No, but we don't business more than neighbor.
if you I mean, if you think about it this way, if I'm a single person who live next door, a couple, married couple, I won't be able to sleep. I can't concentrate. When when they're when they're having sex, I have to leave the house. I have to go away.
May I said it. May I said it. I'm not saying it's to offend anybody. Offend anybody. And may I say this? That is why I believe that when you're starting out life, you see, you start out life with the intention of owning your own home and not renting a home near to people whereby you have neighbors who will listen. like joint neighbors who will listen. When you own your home, you're in a comfort of your own space. So when you feel free to make nice anything you feel like. And I say you want it, even though you're disturbing.
Based on the structure,
But I am your neighbor. But the screams that take place, I can't sleep, I can't function. I know it is not murder happening over there, but it
Yeah.
somebody in the chat raised the question about what that's what pillows are for. And that I think is an interesting topic.
Your partner.
you going to use the pillow.
In the heat of the moment, if your partner is trying to keep you quiet, we have to be very careful.
Yes.
Sometimes as we grow our children,
With the kids, Charisse, I can understand with the kids. That's a different case. If you're a couple, if you're a couple just married and you don't have any kids, but with the kids now, that's a total different thing because you don't want the kids hearing all that screaming.
Right.
Especially
the age of the child.
the age of the child.
Children talk every single
And,
thing
and,
at school.
and I can tell you, my son's there. No.
Children talk everything at school.
What I'm saying is it's maybe the same thing. It's just that boy, your neighbor can go and talk everything and say, boy, you see them two people there, them no easy, every
I'm gonna care what the neighbor say. I rather care what my child say.
is based on the individual. For me, I don't want I don't know how I reach on this panel to make anybody know that.
issue because it affects a lot of people. There are some people who really love so extreme privacy. They don't want anybody to know they're having sex. And then there are others who one person want it private and the other one don't mind making up, and so that's an issue. We were talking, Patsy, you were going to tell us a little bit more about the orgasmic phase. And I think it is significant. You mentioned some things earlier about, the refractory period of the man and so on and so forth. And I think Delora was speaking to that as well. But can we just quickly just say what exactly happens at orgasm, that experience, part of the experience?
So at orgasm, it's that time when the tension builds so much that you have what you call, persons will say they come. So at that time, the scrotum for the man, it tightens and he now ejaculate. During the ejaculation is a spasm. So his whole body goes into spasm and his groin tightens, and the rhythm allows him now to either to go faster and harder and ejaculate. For the woman, it is a similar experience. You have the whole blood flow going to the vagina. You have the woman though have what we call a G-spot, and researchers have not been able to say exactly where it is, but it is suggested that it is somewhere at the top of the vagina. And once the clitoris and the G-spot becomes activated, the woman also has an orgasm, which is the same spasms. So you have the spasms and of the vagina, and the blood pressure go up, your heart rate go up, and there's a release of this now sexual tension. And it's like you reach somewhere, and I heard Sister McPherson talking about it. You reach a place where some people scream, some people moan, some people groan, but you reach. For men, the orgasm phase is between not more than 10 seconds. It goes between 3 to 10 seconds for men. But for women, they can have the orgasm up to 20 seconds. Some go up to 30 seconds. So the whole body is in spasm. It's like your belly button tickle you. You just feel different. And both men and women, and during the marriage and during the sexual act, it is important for the communication, because the most rewarding thing is when both of you come together. Well, for me and my husband, and I've been married for 29 years, and the most rewarding thing is when both of us can pleasure each other at that point in time.
This is one that was on social media for some time, for a particular bit, where I think this policeman was going down on this woman in this vehicle, and she squirted. There was a squirting that she did during the performance of whatever the man was doing. Is that a normal thing during orgasm? Do women ejaculate? If they don't ejaculate, what really goes on in that context?
Secretion, the juices now become so much that you're wet. You're overly wet, and sometimes you're wet to the point where it seems as if you're ejaculating, but it's not ejaculation. It's that sexual fluid from the glands produced in the uterus and the vagina, and you have a lot of secretions down there during the time of orgasm.
Anything else to add to that? Anybody else to this orgasmic experience? We know after orgasm, it seems that women seem to go through a different kind of ending response compared to the male. What is that? Can we talk about that, Delroy? to bring in it. How is this different? What really goes on? When a woman reaches her climax and the man reaches the climax, what happens after that?
The woman will be so exhausted that she want to sleep. Most of the time, the men will be exhausted and want to sleep after that. That's what most time happens. Not all the while, but that's most time happen. Yes.
It sometimes can be disturbing, and a man feels that he's a failure if he doesn't know what is going on in his body. Can you speak to that?
Right. Sometimes you might rest for a while. After 5 minutes, you might up again. It doesn't happen all the while, right? It depends on what is going on through your body, your underlying situations and so forth. But here comes understanding, right? Here comes understanding. And usually when you have achieved and you're him, and you have an understanding wife, they will understand, say, yes, you know what I mean? Wait on you until X time again, and we go at it. You understand?
Yes.
But what I'd like to say is that even though persons, or should I say the male, can go back within minutes, sometimes it depends on the day. What is happening that day? What you need to happen. So if it's a Sunday, you're getting ready. If it's a Sunday morning, you can't go back again. You have to get ready for church. If it's a work morning, you have to get ready for work. If it is a Saturday, you're washing, you have to get back to what you're doing. And then, yes, so the feeling, and what I always say to young people, that feeling is in that moment. And at the end of that event, and at the end of that moment, your life goes back to normal. So whatever it is that you have to do, you have to get to doing what you have to do. So within that, after that moment and after that experience, whether you're going to be resting after, or you have to go to work or church or the market or whatever, you just have to get back to your daily lives. So it's not a feeling that's going to last you for the entire day. You have to get back to doing what you have to do. So you make it count in that experience, and you make it count in that moment. Yes.
In fact, I'm gonna hold my question because I want to invite Sister Jackie. Are you there? Jackie? I want to pause a moment for us to hear this. Jacqueline, are you there still?
All right, I'm going to start with the COFB Family Photo Challenge 2025. I don't know how many persons, if there's anybody on YouTube who has entered, you can put a hand up or you can give an emoji to say that you have submitted your application, your entry. Now, the objective of the Family Photo Challenge is to create a heartwarming family photo featuring the most generation that you can put together. The most family members, with as many family members as you can. The generations count, and the number of family members that are included count. So, and after you have done that clip, then you're going to tell us about who the persons in the picture are. So it's not like a collage of pictures over time. It's that one picture in that one moment where you get as many generations and as many family members as you can garner, and you take that one picture. Having taken that picture now, you begin now to explain who the persons in the picture are. So to your left, starting from your left, that's my uncle Gerald, and that's his daughter over there, blah, blah, blah. However you want to do it, you could create the explanation via a family tree. You could create the explanation with words, with individual pictures and explanations, individual families. So after your two brothers and his family, your aunt and uncle and his family, your grandmother, and you and your family, they are there, and your grandchildren. You can now maybe have a family photo of your grandfather or your great-grandfather and his wife, and you say who they are. Then you show a picture, if you can have a picture of your uncle and his family, and you point out who they are and whatever. Or if you want to send, so for greater clarity, you could choose one individual and say what the relations are to those individuals, whether it's yourself, whether it's a great-grandparent. But we want to, definitely the family is defined as a member. You know your family. These persons can be either be by blood, by legal adoption, marriage. So that's what the members of your family should either be members of your family through blood, through marriage, or adoption. So let me first go through, let me make a disclaimer, because any picture you enter, we just want you to know it's quite unlikely that it may happen, but just as a disclaimer, we want you to understand that in submitting a picture, you're basically giving us permission to the committee, the Family Life Committee, to use and publicize the photos you have entered. But that is almost quite unlikely, but we just want to put that out there. Now, before I go further and give some more clarification, I want everybody to pause on YouTube and do this for me. Now, I looked at, let me look it up. I have another gadget here. We have currently, I think, 138 persons listening, and only 14 persons have clicked the like button. So please stop for a moment if you're on YouTube, and I'm going to ask you to take the next couple of seconds to click the like button. There are benefits to be had if you do that. So one, if you do that, then it means you won't have to be going into your church groups or whomever to get the links anymore when we have these sessions, even after Family Month. Once the COFB family is having the TV is having a publication or having any workshop seminar, you automatically get a notice. You're not compelled to join, but you would automatically get a notice. And it makes it easier for you when you want to join. Instead of having to go into a group to find the link and then to click on it, you automatically get that notification. So for convenience, that works. I'm still seeing 14, so go ahead right now and click the like button for me. Please do that, brethren. But the subscribe button, the like button, and the subscribe button. The subscribe button is the little bell, right? I'm thinking yes. So that bell, and it would get black. Yes, normally at your right-hand corner. I don't know what exactly where it is, but it's a little bell. Once you click that, it means that you would subscribe. And once you subscribe, all that I said prior would apply. Whenever something is happening, you'd get a notice. A little notice would come at the top of your gadget, and you can just go on. If you go on YouTube, you'll see all the things that has gone on before. It's very convenient because the way forward, we'll be doing a lot more of these workshops, because the Family Month exercise has emphasized the need for more information, more interaction, more just as a church being more relevant. And so I can promise you that the various auxiliaries will be having more of these kind of discussions, candid, necessary, pointed. And so I'm certain that you would want to be a part of this. So please go ahead, click the subscribe button. Once you subscribe, we too can benefit at a church, because the more persons you have subscribing to your link, your YouTube, your channel, if you want to call it that for want of a better technological word, it means therefore persons would begin to pay us, because if you're advertising and you know that there's a market, a certain channel has a certain amount of members or a certain reach, then you certainly would want to advertise with that person so more persons could see your advertisement. If we only have 20 people, I'm not going to pay to advertise for 20 people, but if you have 20,000 or 200,000, that's a totally different ballpark. I think we have enough members in Church of the Firstborn to qualify for that. So this is your Christian duty as a firstborn. Go ahead, click the bell and subscribe. Go ahead. I'm giving you a second to do that, and then I'll give you further information on the competition, the criteria. Okay. So you can do that while you're listening, and I'm believing that our brethren would have been obedient and done that, because it's for the benefit of the church. All right. So if for all of us who are planning to join, here is how you basically win, or you get to the top of the scale. Now for the categories, you get points based on the number of generations that you have in your picture. The more generations you can have, it's the more points you'll get. You have 5, it's 5 points per generation. So if it's just you, your family alone, that's 10 points. That would be you and your children, if you have grandchildren. But if you can go into your grandmother, great-grandmother, and for younger families, you may even be able to go to your great-great-grandmother. Know that, and if they're alive, because remember, it's one picture where all the members are there. It's not an old family picture only 6 years ago when you have a reunion. No, it's not that one you want. It must be current. So, up to 25 points you can get, and that would include a great-grandparent, grandparents, parents, children, and grandchildren. And the total number of family members, 1 point per person. So even if you have 2 per entries, can have 5 generations. But no, this is where the difference is. How many persons do you have from each of those generations? So the larger the number, it's 2 things you have to take in consideration. You may have a large family that only has 2 or 3 generations, and you may have a medium-sized family that has 5 generations. Depending on how many generations you have, how many members of your family is represented, those are the things that determines how many points you get. So you can have up to 30 points. If there are 30 persons, maximum, that's the maximum amount of points you can have. If you have 30 and over, because you get 1 point per person. If you have 30 and over, you get 30 points. Under that, you get based on the number of individuals in your picture. Identification, you must give clarity as to whom the persons are. Who is this one? As I said before, what's the relation? I don't know if you want to go into age that specific, but certainly you would have, for instance, Maria, daughter of Tom and Lily, granddaughter of James. And so we can see definitely. Yes? Okay, you can definitely see, whomever is judging would need to see exactly the correlation between the persons in the group. Points, you get points for creativity, the way the photo is taken, exactly if you have matching outfits, if you have a nice background and all of that, and the caption that you have explaining who the persons are. You cannot do a Photoshop. We're not taking Photoshops, please. That's not allowed. Labels, so short title to describe your picture. And the photos must be taken during family month. It must be a recent photo. And the deadline for submission is May 30th, 2025. Date of the awards, June 8th, 2025. No Photoshop pictures allowed, as I said. Now, if you want to know where to send your entry to, I'm going to ask again that they type it in the chat, someone can do that for me. But when you look on the first board, the photo chat, the family challenge flyer, you will see the entry, where you can send your entries. So check the YouTube chat for the where you can send your entries, and also check your WhatsApp groups for the flyers. The entries are there, and at time to time we may post it again in our meetings. So, and your secretaries should have it. So thank you. See all those pictures. Looking forward to your entries. And remember, like and subscribe.
Mr. Jackie, let me invite back my panel as we continue with the conversation on the question that I want to start with is why is sex so important to males, or is it? How important is it really to a man? How important is sex to a man?
That is a cultural thing some of the times, Pastor and brethren. Yes, yes, it is. Because there are some cultures and religions that only use sex for procreation, while in other cultures, sex is seen as pleasure. In other cultures, sex is seen as a coming out. So once you are able to have sex, I remember growing up, and my mother would say that the man behaving as if him all important and him piss never burn grass yet. We will never burn grass. So it is important, and it is culturally important for men to be initiated, and sex is considered an initiation in some cultures. And it's not only for men, but it's also for women. For women, sex is also important in some cultures. I wouldn't just say it's important to men. It seems like it's more important to men, but it comes down, in my opinion, to a societal norm and what happens, and the reason for sex in different societies.
Let me hear from these men, because I wonder if this is a woman at all. Yes.
I think sex is closely tied to their emotional intimacy, to their self-esteem, to their identity, to their ego. It is a way they used to express love, to relieve stress, to feel connected. It also has to do with their level of testosterone, right? Men may experience more frequent sexual urges than female, so they need physical satisfaction. And men, well, I would say most men deeply value sex as a way to bond with their partner. That's my take on it. Not necessarily. Let the men speak. Let the men speak. Because they want to take over.
Very important, and I concur with I think is Bennett, who says that with emotional and support, and also ego, right? And for the fact that God made us this way, it is very important. There is a medical study. It is not really that conclusive that frequent sexual activity for the men, it reduces the chance of prostatitis, prostate cancer. But that study is still going on. So a man need to release. So it is very important for the man.
As Deacon said, yes. I mean, it releases the tension, really. And tension in the sense that, I mean, you be stress and depressed, and even when you're tired, you know, and you come and you get the sex. It's like when you get the sex, you feel like you rejuvenate yourself. You understand me? All right, thank you, Deacon. Yes, I mean, yeah, because that's what it does to the Eve. That's what it does to your body. You want to sleep and you want to rest, and when you get it, you feel like you could have watched TV till the morning. You understand me? So it rejuvenates the body. Yeah, and then we clean the whole house.
See, it gives you that boost that you need to start your day. Yeah, sex does a lot of things for the woman. It makes her glow. So
So, oh, okay. I hear that. Because sometimes you think say it's just the man alone who really want, you know. I think we were saying these kind of things earlier, but it you are saying it is just as important for both male as well as yeah. The argument you had earlier about cultural, I can identify with it in the context of some of the various cultures that I've observed, you know, where indeed you can see that it not that it's denying pleasure, but it largely is centered around procreation. And sometimes in those kinds of social environments, what you find is that they even the ideas of contraception that we will value in this part of the world, they don't regard that. And so those families tend to have a completely different kind of a layout, as it were. But that's pretty interesting. It seemed like you wanted to add something, Cherise. You could. All right. All right. So we do certainly have misconceptions that about the value that men put on sex and or women put on sex, as the case may be, which you seem to be speaking to and validating that women do want to have sex just as much as men, right? And we do know that at least some men are, and I saw the sum and somebody's mouth. Does, if I may ask this, the issue of sexual incompatibility, you know, sexual incompatibility can create frustration and sometimes loneliness and emotional distance, you know. How can that be addressed? You know, where they, you know, there's that sense of we're not doing it together. How do you see us addressing that as men, wives, and husbands?
Rev, I want to just take a jab at this one, and I may seem a little bit super spiritual, and I'm coming back to the point I made earlier about the beauty of sex in marriage. And the wife understanding what her role is in the context of sex, and the husband understanding, and the communication and the making the effort and the teaching and all of that. I am not sure. I've just been married for what, 3 years. I am not sure how incompatibility will reign in a marriage when all of these things are put in place. If pardon me, if there's something that is happening that is not gelling my sex life with my husband, then I think it is the onus is on me to ensure that I try to do, and my husband, the onus is on him to appreciate that I am trying. Because remember, you know, there is no coming out of this, you know. So if my husband say, boy, you know, you only give me sex for one time for the week or whatever it is, whatever the incompatibility is, I just think that as Christians who are married and understand the weapon of sex in marriage, me not think that incompatibility should be in a marriage. for more than whatever. For more than, me not even put a year. And I'm just saying a year because both of us should be working together to ensure that we are in sync. If my husband might have to go teach me something, me might have to go teach him something, and both of us just willing to learn so that we become compatible. And again, coming from singleness into marriage, pray about your sex where you soon have as an engaged person. Pray about it. Tell Jesus exactly what you want it to look like and feel like, and put it at the foot of the cross. And I'm not being super spiritual. I am talking from experience because I'm just coming out of there. Rev.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Are really in some marriages because men may internalize issues as performance failures while the woman may feel emotionally disconnected. So what I would say is, I can't say it enough, open communication. Be vulnerable with your partner. Let them know exactly how you feel and what is really happening. Because sometimes we assume. So you have to let the person know. You have to have empathy and you have to have a willingness to understand each other's needs and each other's essential in addressing the differences. Because guess what? We are two different persons, two different individuals coming from two different backgrounds, coming together as one. So we have to put those things together. So we have to talk. We have, and listen, Sharice, you can't say it enough. High five. Listen, you have to put it at the foot of the cross. You have to tell Jesus exactly, word for word, Jesus, such and such and such, and he will know how to fix it. Because these things really do happen. These things are real. These issues are real.
And to add to that, I believe that even so in communication, I believe that a little compromise should have to happen in the same breath, because you can't be so selfish that because the person as Sherry just said a while ago, if the person bust off too quick, you have a feel say no, so this now work. I mean, yeah, there are so many things can be why it happens. Sometimes it's just something on the brain, or a lot of things can happen. You have to just compromise the situation. The person come in and feel for sex, and you can't be that you rush the person and vex up and all them things. I mean, some women come in there tired. You know what I mean? And you feel like say, I want, she don't want you, or even if you get licked, she just give you, and that is it. You know what I mean? So I believe that being compromised, play a little role in even with communication also.
I agree with both persons, with all the persons who have spoken before. And one of the things we have to and I'm going to talk from a medical point of view now, is that incompatibility is a real thing. And communication is important, compromise is important, but there's one other very important thing, and that's seeking help. And I'll give an example, because sometimes we talk about incompatibility and there are different things. So in the medical field and as a nurse, I know that there are couples who, because of what the diet or whatever is happening, they are afraid to have sex, because every time they have sex and the man ejaculates, it actually burns the female. She has serious challenges with the ejaculation. They ask them to use condom. The man don't want to use a condom because we're married. Why we have to use a condom? And sometimes we have to seek help. So we have to, with the communication, if we're not getting it across, we sometimes have to get help from a counselor or somebody who knows, or we need to speak to somebody who can help us to get over the issues. Sometimes we have to change our diet. So the compromise comes in. Sometimes we have to change our activities, what we do, how we do it, the position that we do it in. We have to change things. So there will come incompatibility within the marriage, and within the sexual relationship, but how we work it out is very important. And we need to pray, we need to communicate, we need to compromise, and we need to seek help if we need to get help.
To have this kind of I would say reasonable response. The woman is you know, just not responding to the need, or the man is, you know, just not as kind and compassionate, if I may use that expression. What becomes the outcome when this incompatibility reigns or continues?
As Christians, a lot of persons, we tough it out, for want of a better word. Some persons tough it out and they remain together as Christians. But I don't believe that anything is unresolvable. Most things can be resolved. But it just depends on how we do it. So some married couple live like brother and sister because they realize that, you know, we're Christians, we're not going to separate and we're not going to sin. So they live like brother and sister. But I do believe that there are channels and there are means. And that's why it is so important, even as we speak tonight, that we're having these discussions. Because a lot of people don't speak about their sexual challenges or problems outside of the marriage. It's taboo. But it's not something that it's something that we should be able to talk about and seek help. Just like if our blood pressure go up and we go doctor and we get our medication, we should be able to find an avenue or somebody or help if we're having challenges in our sexual life.
You know, I love the fact that less of our or young people or Christians are marrying as virgins. Uh I don't know if it's a matter of preference or compatibility, but more persons are coming into the marriage knowing exactly how them like it and what they want. And it's not so much of a meeting of the minds and exploring together and working out together your preferences and what makes you tick and what makes you go, hallelujah, glory to God. So I think this issue is extremely important because everybody is coming in know what flavor them like already. And if this discussion is not made, sometimes you may go in and be in for a rude awakening and know where this Christian man come from with this backward thing and this palmy head tap thing and all of them something there. And just to say before you respond, Brother Brian, please use the terms that we use in the prayer meeting. Because when you just get it because you want it, it is called zombie sex.
Okay. All right, thank you. She made reference to zombie sex, which was shared the other morning. In as you know, I I suppose a reasonable interpretation of zombie sex is the person is just there. You know, you get in the body, but you're not getting anything else.
Yeah, I understand now.
So,
She give the man because she just wanted. Is that I mean, she's just there.
of it to say you may be just a zombie because you just don't know what to do.
And just not knowing it. It's a response, an intentional, yeah, it's an intentional response that okay, take it, you know. Um, but if so I'm asking the question, particularly about that person who is offering zombie sex consistently over a period of time. Doesn't that not have an outcome? Does not that result into something when
More often than not?
contribute to certain kind of developments?
Of women being emotional, and why would a woman just lie there and just say, yeah, take it? Something is wrong. So something, huh?
You have a man who gets to a point where he's tired of the zombie-like behavior and become increasingly dissatisfied with the offering. Isn't that not going to become a major turnoff to him and cause him to probably find interest somewhere else?
Fruit of something for a woman. I'm begging for backup with the married women here. It is as a result of something. You never started off being a zombie, which is why now I get to understand what the definition is. I can say it is a fruit of something, and more often times it has to do with her emotions, and maybe because you criticism, maybe because of how you look at me versus how maybe I will see you looking at somebody else. Maybe you not look at nobody else in the other way, but it's women want to feel belong. I always want to feel like I am the woman for my husband, not only to just wear my person and be in a ring. I want to know that I am the woman. So it must have been some unresolved thing. It must have been some displeasure. And it don't even have to be sexual. It can just be over a period of time. Because I can't understand a woman from a woman's perspective. And as I say, I stand corrected that I, as a woman, just going to give zombie sex for no reason. There is something. There is something.
Because if a woman is satisfied emotionally from her emotion, she's not going to give you a zombie sex. Definitely not. Yes, yes, because emotionally she is satisfied, she is desired, she feels like the only woman. Right?
Saying then is one level of this or one round of dissatisfaction or one era of dissatisfaction leads to another, which eventually creates a worsened situation between the partners.
With the female, as Sherry said, it's something, but it, it can be one, it can be two, or it can be three. I realize that a woman, when she's when her mind is stable, especially emotionally. Trust me, you can't get her to do anything at all. You understand me? Because our mind is stable in such a way, in our fluctuate up and down and all these things. So that is why with females you have to ensure that they are emotionally stable, mentally stable, all the stable them and everything, monetary stable, especially monetary stable. Listen, when I want to have money, when your wife have money and she emotionally stable, listen, my man. Listen, my man. Everything up a set, man. And the goat in stable, you carry out and sure and listen. If you ever come in one even with a little gift, it done. Yeah. No zombie thing now happen.
Yeah.
Of that you have for each other, because I've been married for 29 years this year. And um, there are going to be unresolved issues. There are going to be times when you have challenges and have fuss and so. But I'm going to tell you the truth. As soon as my husband, not care even if we vex from here so to there, so as soon as him touch me, once him touch me the right place, me and him good again. Um, so I don't know how persons do the zombie thing. I really don't know, because um sex is also, and sometimes persons, we don't accept it, but sex is also a way that we, something that we use because of the oneness. We use it as something. So me and my husband quarreling, and we're not talking, and we decide, all right. But once we lie down and we connect physically, it's as if something else just happens. For me, it's a way of communication to say, all right, baby, we know say this, we know say this will happen, but we still have it right as us. So make me just sort out, because we have it here, so make we just sort out whatever is happening on the other side. But it's not that we won't have challenges. We have challenges, but it's just how we communicate and the bond that we share, that spiritual bond that you share in the marriage. So I'm telling you the truth. A 29-year-old older, I don't know how to have zombie sex. And it's not that I haven't tried. I've tried.
So both the zombie sex and the shop locking shop, as Delroy said a while ago, along with a series of things that become sexual responses from partners, seem to contribute to all kinds of breakdown in relationships. And what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of expressions of infidelity, and it is just as bad, it seems, in the church.
Sex is important to the woman. So let me just add that sex. All right, so sex for, based on what we were talking about with the zombie. So let me just, this is just the conclusion for that segment, is that sex for women is more strongly connected to emotional closeness, relationship, satisfaction, and feeling desired, right? The physical pleasure is important. The context, such as we want to feel safe, we want to feel respected, we want to feel loved. And you know, the respect plays a very big role in our relationship. So, right, so many women see sex as a way to build intimacy, to express affection, and to reinforce. We can't say it enough, we can't say too much, the emotional connection in a relationship. So I just wanted to make sure that I add that.
Annette Bentley said in the chat that after years of being married, sometimes the partners take each other for granted. And that seems to be a feature of the discussion that we're having here. And a part of what you have been saying is how significant communication is as a means of not just to do pillow talk, to, you know, in terms of how you engage sex, but also to address the wider issues of the relationship, to make sex a better experience for both partners. But I was raising the concern just now, because what we do find is that there seems to be, when what we call incompatibility, maybe not a good word, but when we find these differences surfacing, we find that the relationships really do break down sometimes rapidly, and then we see the features of infidelity. And the features of infidelity seems to be as bad in the church.
May I ask, may I say, I don't know if I ask or may I say, but do we really want our relationships to break as people under God who understand that marriage is likened to Christ and the church? No, I am praying to God. I believe as individuals in marriages, your relationship individually with God is what is going to keep your marriage together. When I understand what God has said that I, Cherie, should do as a wife, and when my husband understand that and honor God with that. Because am I, as Sister Patty said, ask for help. Am I going to sit down? Me tell him, my husband a pastor, so maybe me have to take time when me in at them forum here, because me really not going to sit down with no problem in my marriage in a pastor court. May I come to you? May I come to Pastor Hill? May I go to Reverend Benny and say your pastoral colleague is not treating me right? Because I am not going to sit down in it and be uncomfortable and then go displease God and I be held accountable for something, I am going to cry out. And this is what I am asking for any Christian couple. I don't know where it starts, that gets to this place. Remember your relationship with God, not even the man, you know. I don't know what some of the issues are. Some people might say you can't stay there talk, you're not reach nowhere yet, blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, I am here until death. That's what the vow says, you know. So anything, Reverend will always say two Christians should not be married and the marriage don't work. Somebody backsliding or the both of them backslide. If you're two believers. Yeah, exactly. But you're done married already. But you're done married already. Even if you're married for the wrong reason, you're done married already. So you have to go swallow that. You have to swallow it.
I hear what you say, and you're right, but and correct me if correct me if I'm wrong.
Wrong reason, but married already. So the question then is, how do we resolve these issues? How do we move forward?
Seek help. I mean, seek help in the sense of, you know, you find somebody who is capable of talking to. You know what I mean? What I reason with, it could be anybody, but what I want about to say is that with that said, find somebody. The thing is, we need to find the real safe space to talk, because even so you have some persons who we think that they are capable of talking to, but at the same time, your business go road. Sad to say. I mean, I tell you the honest truth. It happens. So what that does, you have persons who are afraid to talk then. So some people are afraid of saying these things to certain people. So what we talk about that on Friday night, about creating that safe space so persons can have these discussions with persons who are capable of holding these conversations and helping these persons when they are in certain situations.
And two, the person must be willing to want to get the help.
Yes.
Because you can teach like Paul and they decide that they don't want to change
Yeah.
and do it. What are you going to do? If the individual doesn't want to be helped, you understand? They don't want to do the counseling. They don't want to say, okay, let us try this. Then that is another challenge. That is another issue. Yes.
The point of being a believer, you know, because all me I go pray to God. When me I go say to God, say, I know, say, my marriage, they're right here, so in a problem, and I am the one that is not willing to move forward. It is ruining my relationship with the Lord.
Morning going to work, and this lady said that she has married to her husband for 33 years. And for the 33 years that she has married to this man for, 1 year out of the 33 year, him tell her, him show her love, him show her that love which she always want. For the rest of 32 years, she not show her no love. But guess what? She tell herself, say, she go to God on the altar and she has made a vow to marry this man which she regret, but she in it already. And she tell her, she say, it's until death. Then she can come out. I say, if in dead tomorrow, she out of it. If in dead next week, she out of it. If him dead when he might 80 or 90, that is when she's going to be out of it. But she's not going, she don't plan to break that covenant. She says she has gotten help. She has asked for help. She has gone to a lot of counseling, different people, psychiatrists, pastor, doctor, everybody. And it's the same thing. But guess what? She says just leave it up to God. And she decides to look here for until death for the 32 years. So everybody different. Everybody is different. You know? Some people will walk out, you know. Some people will walk out. Some people will walk out and they have business. If I him own the house, and him own the car, and him own everything, she just walk out and leave it.
I'm listening, and one of the things that we need to take into consideration as we go along the spiritual journey and we go through these discussions is to remember that we do have the population of our churches are mainly female. We have a female dominated population in our churches, and a proportion of that, I don't know what the proportion is, but a proportion of those persons are either married to unsaved men. And while we have the discussions, we have to, as you said, we have to come up with practical solutions on how we speak to our couples who are in marriages and are having challenges. There are some who are in violent relationships. There are some who are in relationships where they are unloved, probably only loved for a year. So while we have those of us who have loving husbands and husbands who are Christian and godly and understand the ways of God, we do have marriages within our churches that one partner is not saved. And there are some issues that are difficult to resolve, even although you want to do it. So even as we speak, we have to come up with practical ways to speak to our congregants and the persons who are listening. How do we really resolve issues that seem unresolvable? It's not that they can't be resolved, but how do we really go about it? What are some strategies that we can say to persons, you need to put this in place to have your marriage work? We know that we went before God and we said until death. But what kind of death are we going to face? Are we going to face death at the hand of the man or so? We have to have some practical solutions and strategies as we speak.
Throw this at Delroy, because we have put a number of things on the table in terms of communication and reaching out to finding help and so on and so forth. But I want to raise and start this part of the conversation with Delroy. I mean, what are these internal, if I may say, strategies, for want of a better word, that and which means personalized to the individual, that probably needs to be put in place to ensure that we remain faithful. The issue of fidelity is not a question in our relationship, especially when we find ourselves in these in these situations where there's sexual disappointments. There are things related to sex that are hurting us, and sex means a lot to us, but it is a continuous kind of a situation. How do we live with those realities? How do we face those situations? I did hear what was said, Sherry did point to the issue of communication and really speaking to some of these things that would be confronted one way or the other. But are there, if it is happening to me, right? If I'm the one who is suffering and the party, as Patsy just mentioned, is not responding favorably and is not showing any real sense of concern, what do I do as a man? Or what do I do as a woman?
If you're not back in love by Monday, you can go your separate ways. You understand? And if you listen to the rules of that, no, it is geared towards a solution, right? A solution in that case, the couple needs to be together, right? So there's a couple of several children that a person will take that those children and give them a little space and to deal with it. You understand? You have to look at individual issues, right? Any issues, you have to put them down and see if you can solve it. But the main thing is that, do you want to continue in your marriage? That is it now. If you really want to continue, each partner want to continue, you will go to the long way, even the long way to find a solution, right? It can be several things that can be happening. It can be that you disrespect your husband over the years and him just not really, not talk again to you or whatever, don't find out much attractive or whatever again, right? Or the other way around. But before you reach that stage, there's a thing which we call maintenance in marriage, right? When you get a new car, you don't wait till 5 years before you begin to change oil, right? You at the get-go, you start to put in maintenance things to it, right? So from day one, you work out on your plan, right? You need sometimes away from the children. You plan your vacation, right? I know that it is an economical problem nowadays, but that's something which you needed and to do. But as what Cherise was saying, if you have an intention to continue your marriage, you will look for any little thing and look for help and look for solution, right? I don't know if I answer all of it.
Have a mixture of I was speaking in the context of both persons being Christian. I'm happy Nurse brought it up about the unsaved spouse, whether male or female, and the Bible talks about what we ought to do. You know, it says that because of the I don't remember the word, if it was chasing behavior of the spouse, that it will win them. I think I know of two couples, two separate people who they have unsaved spouse and they've been through hell and high water. But the ladies, both of them are ladies, they held on to their Christian belief so much so that one of the husbands got saved and we're trusting and believing that the other one will. It's not easy, you know. I don't know what that is. It is not easy, but there is still a biblical context where we have to function as the spouse who is saved. You understand? Because sometimes, you know, if for example, I am the saved wife and my husband not saved. Sometimes, you know, is based on my dirty behavior as a Christian that caused the person. We don't know when the Holy Spirit coming in now to answer the prayer that we're praying for them, you know, but we're gonna show up with colors as Jamaican people that say and do something, and maybe in the man Eddie must say, see, I know me did ready to come to Jesus, but you just at show me say, because these two ladies that I am talking about, you know, if they stand to talk about what they have gone through, listen to me, we would be shocked and say, no, sir, you're good. But it's just you having the intention to listen, me I go follow Jesus. Because this is my lot. The songwriter said, whatever my lot is, thou hast taught me to say, it is well. It is well, and I know it's not easy.
In terms of how do we, on a personal level, you know, what do we do to ensure fidelity? Which really is a question I'm asking. What do we do on a personal level to ensure that even when we are exposed to the difficulties, things that we don't like. Somebody had even raised the question about the issue of oral sex, anal sex, and sex during menses as a contributor to some of the pain and difficulties some people may have. You know, whatever it is that we're exposed to, how do we, how that becomes a disfavor, a turn off, an upset? How do we maintain fidelity? What do we do? How do we set up ourselves to maintain fidelity? Yeah, because somebody, we're looking at those as examples of things that contribute to the irritation and the upset that will turn off a partner, that will cause grievance and hurt. If I am subjected to something that I find displeasurable, in something that I find right, so that I find offensive, so maybe, right, as an example, yeah. So how do we maintain fidelity? How do we keep, especially when we are having, because what we are seeing is a lot of people trickling from the church to doing some ungodly things. And we're finding the issues of infidelity on a spiritual level seem to be growing, which also now contributes to the unfaithfulness as it relates to the marital relationship. So you know, there are many things that are happening on the church level, and I'm raising it about talking about it on the church level. How do we as men, how do we as women, married men and women, when you are faced with these things, how do you keep a straight path? Anybody who wants to answer my question? And don't make it look so difficult.
Strong self-discipline, strong emotional maturity. I mean, there are a lot of distractions out there. Believe it. Whole heap of distractions out there. I mean, you have to have a clear sense of responsibility as to what you're in it for. You know what I mean? And even so, you have to, you have to be mindful and be aware of the emotional things that are around you. You have to have create that emotional intelligence to know, say, look here. In this thing, for a long time, you have to value whatever you have, and know that this is what I want for a very long time. You know what I mean? I mean, we're not perfect. We are humans and we're not perfect, but you have to try and control your mind as to what you really want in the relationship, and to keep it. I mean, to stimulate all that, stimulate all that. You and your partner have to just create some things. As it goes back to even communication and compromising. Create some things. What she do what she like. She do what you like, and what you like, and you just put all that together and just make it work. I mean, if she like to go road trip and you like to go road trip, you just want to sit in the house and watch TV. You go road trip just to make her, just to leave her and make she comfortable. You understand me? If she if she if she if she likes to take pictures and you don't like to take pictures, I mean, just take 2 pictures. Everything is all right. If she doesn't like football or she doesn't like cricket, you know what I mean? But you like cricket, she will follow you come on cricket games and follow you come on football match and jump and if she don't understand the game and she asks you 2 questions, you answer the question. So you do things that are compatible to each other, and just know, say, listen, I'm in it for a very long time.
You have to be deliberate in your action, right? And not being over spiritual here, but you have the indwelling of the Holy Spirit that will help you. But you have to, as what Brian said, value what you have, be deliberate, say you're going to keep what you have, and that comes with a lot of self-control, because self-control is one of the fruit of the spirit. Yes.
Part of a marriage. It's a premarital counseling to make people understand what are some of the things to expect and the how marriages can evolve and how we change. Because the truth is, you and I are not the same persons we were 10 years ago. We're not. And so it is, I can imagine we will continue to go, not talking about our Christian values now, because those remain constant throughout our lives. But I need the preparation for marriage is that sex would be something that we would discuss. And I'm using just the example of anal sex and oral sex and all of that. I believe those are things that we needed to have a discussion and throw it on the table. And let us say at that time, it was a no-no for us. You understand? And then some part in the marriage, I don't know where that person would have gotten the idea now to have wanted. Me now go just come in and just throw it down for my spouse and say, boy, me want this now. Remember over the years we now do this, and then you just come in one day to say, this me want no one. And then true, you now get it, you just gone. So it comes back to understanding what you're getting into. It's a commitment. It is a place where we will change over a period of time, and we mustn't change and run gone left each other. We must be coming together and working together so these things don't come in our mind. And again, I repeat, we must understand that we're in this until death. Because sickness is a part of marriage that can say, boy, I can't manage this a sick man no more. Me just want one strong man. What is that? You understand? Because the man sick, the man sick, the woman sick, we're run gone. So you have to understand at the beginning a little idea of what you're getting into. And that's why I said nobody enough rush no marriage in a rev and people talk about what marriage is and what God create marriage to be, you know. So when some little something come fun and knock on we door, we have to remember say, boy, me in this and me nah let all when it get hard. Because and something you just jump up and run, go to the road and boy, me can't bother with the man, me can't bother with the woman, I will gone. They have to understand.
And to what Cherry said, you know, in church, some relation. That's what I talk about the self discipline. You know what I mean, and the value. You understand me? Because some really, as Sherry said a while ago, you talk about this on the table. Say these we don't do these things. We no for these things. But somewhere in the middle of the relationship, you come and talk about these things, which takes me now to a lot of relationships are being influenced by other relationships. Because Tom Strokes come and say to me, listen, this me and doing my relationship hot, you know. You understand me? And in friend come and say, listen, look here, man, you need to try this because this a spice up the relationship. You understand me? But guess what? You start devaluing yourself now. I'm gonna tell your wife, say, listen, this we need to try now, you know. You understand me? Which wasn't your thing from day one. This thing going around now where man want two wife now. You understand me? Man I say him want two wife now. He want him wife and him girlfriend for go shop now. And him come and one wife, one in a house, lie down beside him and want to cook. So, and you have a lot of men who have these things and come now at work and him tell them stories. Say, listen, two wife me have in a house or two girl me have in a house. And it's nice and it's sweet and you can't imagine me lying on a bed beside one woman and one woman in the kitchen and cook. are clean, or two women now are clean and all these things. So a lot of relationships are being influenced. And we as men and women have to just be careful of these persons who are trying to influence us as to these things, to want to have these things.
I want to add something as well. Sharice mentioned that, you know, in the premarital counseling stage, you know, these things. And I want to even put it a little further before that. When Brian and I met, and when we realized that, you know, we started liking each other, you know, just like, you know, being around each other. I don't know what counseling you would call that. That would be the pre-counseling before the pre. We did that counseling with Pastor Ishmael Ben. And I remember even talking to other persons, you know, like we said, we want some do's, we want some don't. And they gave us some pointers, some things that we need to look for, some things that we need to, the conversations that we need to have before even getting into premarital counseling. Because guess what? Some people just rush into marriage, and marriage is a serious thing. Very, very serious. It's, I don't know, when you say willy-nilly?
Willy-nilly business.
No. And persons have to, individuals, females and males have to understand that it's not something that you just go into and then tomorrow you just feel like, oh, I don't feel like it, I may just come out. No. There are going to be challenges.
This is the American style.
There are going to be issues. There are going to be times when you have to take a step back and say, no, let me look into myself and see, you know, if I need to change. So it's very serious. And based on the point that where Brian said that when the friend come home, it will make your partner even say, oh, so you're there road that do things, where you get that from? I don't know, friend tell you that, you know, yeah, try that, you know, and those things cause issues and problems within the marriage. So we have to be careful. A lot. Right.
It's a lot of work and a lot of compromise, not compromising your position as a child of God, but compromising as in what Brother Brian spoke about. So even as Christian wives, we have to understand the role that we play in church when we have unsaved husbands. Do we go to church every time the drum roll? So it's a lot of compromise, it's a lot of work. But at the end of the day, what do I want out of my marriage? I want me and my husband to grow old together. So we practice growing old together. So we're sitting at home and the children are here. My daughter is in the kitchen and I'll say to my husband sitting beside me, get up, can I get some water, please? And my daughter will say, why you don't ask me? I say, we're practicing getting old together. So it's work. It's hard work when everybody else is gone and both of you are together. How do you feel about each other? So it's just, what do you want at the end of the day?
Patsy, I suppose that is significant to some of the things Brian mentioned earlier. The sense of discipline when you're upset, as a lot of we see with a number of people, when they're upset, they get up and then go out the road, go drink with their friend, them walk out angry and upset with their partner, and they go moonlighting on the street or some other place, then teeth and walk out of the house and so on and so forth. So those things create it's a setup for things to strain even further and for them to get into issues, which eventually is going to have a negative impact on the relationship.
Your partners, we must be able to read when, because sometimes, as I think Sister Sharice was the one who said, we're not the same. So we must be able to read each other. Sometimes we do things and we don't even know that what we did. As I said, I'm married for 29 years, and it come like every day I learn something new about the man that I never knew before. We have to learn to read each other. So sometimes we do things as the individual that we are, and it upsets our spouses. We don't even know, but we have to read them. So every now and then I will go and say, I want me to know. And, sometimes my husband, who's not a big talker, will say this and that. And I say, but I never meant it. Or sometimes we say things and just how we say it. So we have to learn to read each other, know each other. As we grow together, we grow to understand the likes and the not likes, and we know when we need to compromise. And we need to know at the end of the day, what do I want out of this marriage?
Bringing us to the end of this conversation. It's really what you're saying that is bringing us to this point where we want to wrap up this conversation. We have been talking since sometime after 6 about the issues of all these issues of sex in marriage and so on and so forth. There's so much more to say. There's so much more we could talk about, but this is where we are. There are a number of questions still that probably are lingering in the chat. Somebody had asked a question, and I'm gonna, and before I give you guys, because I'm really at the end, so I give you a minute to just say whatever is your closing matter you want. I want to quickly respond to somebody had asked earlier in the chat. I remember seeing what is courting. I think I saw that one. I don't know if anybody wants to respond to that. But as I mean, because as I understand, squirting is really something that comes from the urethra, right? And as such, it's a combination of urea and other things that is courted at the high point of our orgasm, right? So that's answering that question. Any other that was there with them?
Valerie asks, how do couples make the adjustment when they begin to get older?
So you probably can, I don't know if you want to take that on, or somebody who knows about getting older. What?
Learn each other. We learn the do's and the don'ts. We know the pros and the cons. And at the end of the day, do you want to go old with this person? And if the answer is yes, you do whatever you need to do. You make the necessary compromises. You make the necessary changes because there are changes on both sides, changes for the man, changes for the woman. We just have to work with the necessary changes. I tell persons that every morning I wake up, there's a new part of my body that I find because I have pain in different parts of my body that I never knew existed. So we just have to learn our partner. We just have to be willing and open to learn every day. And as we grow older, we grow old together, knowing that we are in this for the long haul, and we're going to do whatever it takes to stay together.
Share hobbies, as Brian said, express admiration, just love upon each other, because by that time you're getting older, the kids will be gone. So it'll just be both of you. So, just live and enjoy each other's company and just make it work. Yes, practice from now.
My husband for the water, I send him for something, and the children will ask, why not? We say, no, man, we're practicing. Leave us alone. Practice to get all together and do things together. Um, we 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 talk every day on the phone. We text each other. So as soon as I get to work, sometimes he'll text me and or I'll call him. And the first thing he asks me, you miss me already? And I'm like, yeah, man, I miss you. So still, keep the love, and as if we were young. We know we can't do certain things, but we still talk about it and we still enjoy each other's company. When I if and I know the cues, as I said, you have to learn the cues. So if if I was upset, or if he thinks that I'm upset about something, and I see him come in with a big bar of chocolate, me know say, all right, sorry. That means sorry. No words, no nothing, just a big bar of chocolate. I know that he's sorry. So whatever it is, me can't even bother vex again. Sometimes it's not nothing, but we just have to learn how to communicate and work with each other as we grow older.
Her husband, Brian, calls me right throughout the day at work. He texts as I leave work in the evenings. We talk, unless he's extremely busy. We talk all the way home till I get home. Sometimes he's on the phone while I'm cooking, and we just keep the communication going. I send a text if my day is busy and he realizes that he doesn't get a phone call. He knows that, listen is really busy today, but I ensure that I send a voice note. There's my busy, work is hectic, but later. But you have to do that. You have to do that. It's your marriage, and you have to make it work for you. And don't leave.
To go back to what we were saying earlier, the quality of those conversations is what make eventually when you engage sex, it is an easy, pleasurable experience. And so that's where we want to touch down this evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to give the panel just another final 30 seconds to just wrap up their thoughts. Starting with you, Delroy, and then we move down the road. What, please?
I'm kind of disappointed that you don't touch on the whole menopause and andropause issue, right? But just to say this, that men have to understand the woman when they reach that juncture in their life, right? 70% of divorces initiated by a woman, and about a good almost a percentage of women of a couple in the 30 years, 29 years, and therefore of marriage are divorcing because they don't grow together so much and to be together. One solution for that is that before children get older, you should always bond together. You know your spouse before your children. After children grow big, you should still plan a vacation, still go out and together to maintain that bond, right? That is what I would say. Yes.
Recognize the significance of the menopause issue, and so we thought that it was something that we need to separate by itself. And so hopefully, if not before this month ends, maybe we have to negotiate and find a time that we come back to speak to it as a particular kind of a conversation, because we believe that it is significant enough to be isolated from the other parts of the discussion. Right, so we will come to it. Yeah.
To say on it, because I'm presently doing a research and writing a book pertaining to that.
You know, love your partner unconditionally. Keep stimulating your partner's mind in everything that, you know, you do, whether she's at the kitchen, she a washer or whatever. I mean, still do those fun things that make you both of your tick. You understand me? I mean, I can't say a whole heap of things, but
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I mean, that's going night.
And Cherise, yes.
Marriage is beautiful, relationships are beautiful. We're relational beings, and all of that came from God. So just keep him at the center of it all. Do whatever you have to do to just keep it blazing. It's a beautiful thing. And remember, you are the one who made the commitment. So just commit and stick to it. Pray, ball, whatever you have to do, but just keep it together.
We hear that sex is not important in a marriage, but it is important. So because it is important, we need to place that level of importance on it. We need to have the discussions, have the communication, have the compromises, and make our marriages work. Thank you for having me this evening.
Times to have further conversations. You have contributed meaningfully to this discussion. Thank you, our audience. Some of you had all kinds of comments. Some of them we couldn't go through all of them, but we really do appreciate you being here and participating as well. And so we bless you and we look forward to further engagements. As we said earlier, that we're hoping to speak to this issue of menopause, andropause at a later point where we can more fulsomely speak to it and address the issues without crowding it with other kinds of issues, right? But we are looking forward to that, and certainly we will tell you when that is going to happen. Thank you, the technical team, all the persons in the room who have been a part of the support cast and helping to make things happen. We bless you and we really do appreciate it. And so may the Lord bless you. May he watch over you. May he really bless your sexiness and your sexual relationship. May the Lord make you a wonderful person, one that will be loved and admired, and may he bless you and make you sweet, and may you feel sweet, and may you feel special, and may you be great in God's sight. And anybody who looks on you, may they look on you and find you sweet and wonderful and blessed. And may the Lord enable you to use who you are and what you are to glorify him through Jesus Christ. God bless you. Yes, yes. Yes, 5 a.m. All right. Technical team, over to you.
God of mercy. This is the era.